I know I'm a little time late to the topic, however, there has been no shortage of coverage as everyone's been rightfully slurping the recent Xbox showcase out of sheer surprise if nothing else. But Microsoft not only brought the heat, but they brought straight fire, muy caliente fuego, that kind of melted the icicles over there that had been building up on the roof of Xbox HQ. But so many solid games were announced. Games with a capital gangsta G over here were announced at the showcase, and that's what these showcases are all about, the games. And I think Microsoft really nailed it when it comes to gameplay. There were some cinematic trailers, of course. A lot of them were just straight up gameplay, and a lot of them were surprise titles from yesteryear, such as Perfect Dark. And if you're a fan of any current Xbox exclusive or Xbox slammer, such as Sea of Thieves or Fallout 76 being a Bethesda title under the Xbox umbrella, then you are in luck because those are all getting mad support as well. But the big headliners here for me personally is going to be Doom, which is taking a medieval tip. Call of Duty, as I think it has potential to be the first title in many moons, many sols, to really put the tick in all three boxes: campaign, multiplayer, and that third component, usually zombies or Spec Ops. But there were some real surprises there. We're going to talk about them. Indiana Jones, Flight Simulator, Stalker 2. Yeah, you heard that correctly. Like I said, they were bringing the heat, and while it's still scorching our fingertips, let's get us a piece. Let's talk about the Xbox showcase. So definitely not saving the best for last, but getting COD right out of the way because we got to eat right up front. Black Ops 6, the latest addition to the franchise, is set to arrive on October 25th. That's developed by Treyarch and Raven Software this time around. As we know, there's many COD studios under that AB umbrella, now Microsoft, developing Xbox titles, and they all take turns. So this one's going to be Treyarch and Raven Software teaming up. And what got me a little bit juiced is that this is a spy action thriller, which reminds me a lot of Cold War. And I understand that COD isn't typically known for campaigns anymore. It hasn't been since back in the good old yesteryear. We're talking about Modern Warfare 2 and Black Ops 1 and 2. The numbers, Mason, what do they mean? That Call of Duty's been about BR and multiplayer for a long time, and it shows. In my review of Modern Warfare 3, I pointed out those open combat zones, which are a direct port. Feels like you're playing online multiplayer in the campaign. Gross. But Black Ops 6 looks like it's going to have an actually intriguing, fun to play story campaign. Then of course multiplayer is going to be the thing that you're going to revisit and get the most replay value out of. But then there's also zombies, a whole hell of a lot better than what zombie players currently have to play. Like I mentioned, just so integrated with the multiplayer component. There's the open combat zones where you pretty much drop in and you're doing all these missions. It just doesn't feel like zombies anymore. The DNA is so far fucking gone. She strayed far from the path. But this time there's the return of classic course round base zombies, so bringing it back. That's what we've wanted. Let's see it. This is going to be launching on the modern consoles, Xbox Series S and X, PlayStation 5, and then last gen consoles, PlayStation 4 and Xbox One still getting support. Yeah, Black Ops 6 looks like the first good COD title in a long time. Doom is probably what I was the most pumped for. I've been on this huge kick recently of classic FPSs, things like Wolfenstein 3D, Quake, and Doom, and then also the modern boomer shooters, excuse me. In fact, I even made a video about it. Did not perform well. As I even mentioned in the end of the video, I don't think this video is going to do very well on my channel, and sure enough, called it, nailed it. It did not get many views. I'm going to cut these front lights because they're hurting my corneas a little bit, and I know you care more about my safety than a good video quality. Oh yeah, basking in RGB right now. I've been playing these boomer shooters recently, which are all about that fast-paced movement, and of course Doom is going to have that, really staying true to that formula, that DNA, slaying demonic hordes and waves with ultra violent weapons, and yeah, you know, Doom. But the coolest thing that really tickled my testes here and surprised me was that Doom is taking a medieval fantasy tip here.
I know, I like to keep it light, keep it fun. I won't take it too serious too.
We're seeing some classic weapons revised to be medieval. We're also seeing this shield, which has spikes, just rip-roaring razors ready to slice flesh, of course. And then what really, just the creativity here through the roof in just a second, you're going to see this weapon that the ammunition type is actual skulls that you're feeding it. It's hungry. Look at this thing. Eats it up like a goddamn blender. We're talking about Ninja or Dyson. name brand spits them out. Hatui, holy shit, this looks so fucking sick. I've personally never thought in the back of my noggin Doom would be sick as a medieval fantasy style thing, but look at how many enemies are on screen in comparison to previous titles. Fuck me. Finishers are back, as we can see. Huge enemies. Elden Ring had a baby with Doom. Yeah, it kind of looks like it, doesn't it? Sign me up for it. A little teaser preview of some flying at the end just to sweeten the deal as that thing spits lava down the gullet of that massive enemy. We got a cinematic trailer for Fable, which is a tag team ready to cream between Playground Games with Eidos Montreal. That's coming to Xbox 2025. It was just a cinematic trailer, but some of the facial graphics were unbelievable. A ghost from your past ready to grab that ass is going to be E-Day. Is going to be Gears of War, which unfortunately I missed out on Gears of War during its heyday. I guess I had my face buried in a PS3 somewhere, didn't own a 360 during the time. But every time I played a Gears of War title as an adult, I really enjoyed the crisp third-person action-adventure gameplay. Kind of reminds me of Uncharted or Last of Us, but for Xbox. Really fucking sick, iconic gameplay for show. And this announcement trailer was using in-game assets. However, there was some trickery. It was rendered at 4K 30 frames per second with 5.1 surround sound, and it was made note of that these specs are optimized for streaming and do not represent the final game's in-game performance. But this was a completely cinematic CGI trailer, although it is using in-game assets from Unreal Engine 5. And as the next mainline entry in the series, this is set in a pivotal emergency day, or E-Day, 14 years before the original Gears of War game, where you've got Marcus and Dom teaming up to return home to face a new nightmare, the Locust Horde. These subterranean assholes are grotesque, relentless, and are trying to obliterate humanity. Looks sick. Excited to play that one. Later this year, that's the only time frame we were given, Xbox Series and PC are getting to play Indiana Jones and the Great Circle Jerk, which I'm super excited for, considering it has been years since an Indiana Jones game existed. When I was a wee lad, I had one on PC. It ran like shit, it looked like shit, but it was a great time. It was one of the first PC games I ever played. You would think the name of it would still be up here, popping up right here though. This is what it was. And from the gameplay trailer, I was actually pretty juiced. I was super shocked to see that it was first person, because this game seems almost perfect for third person. Ideally, it'd be sick if you could swap between the two like a Bethesda game, so that way you could see different gear you equip and whatnot. Although I will say, it does seem like first person is the way to really immerse you in the boots of Indiana Jones through this whip cracking adventure, which looked sick. There were vehicles. Graphically, this game looked a lot better than previous leaked teaser pics that we had seen that looked not promising. A little bit upsetting they did not get Harrison Ford for the voice acting, although Indy didn't sound bad by any means. But since this is on Game Pass, I mean, I'd be an absolute imbecile to not play it. Pretty psyched for this one. I'm not a big flight simulator guy. I just don't have the brain capacity for it. I also don't have the financial bandwidth to get invested into flight simulator gear, because I know that shit's really expensive, and I just got into racing sim, so I can't do both. But flight sim is of course getting love, as that is a Microsoft title for a long time. And if you want to fly real aircraft over real locations, be able to fly over your house and crop dust it in a different way than you usually do in the living room, then you for sure gotta check out Flight Sim 24, which is available on Game Pass for console and PC day one, which is going to be November 19th. Perfect Dark is absolutely one of those iconic FPSs from the N64 era, right alongside 007 GoldenEye. In fact, due to its sci-fi theme, better graphics, and smoother controls, a lot of people prefer Perfect Dark 1 and 2 to the previously mentioned game. I personally didn't expect to ever see another Perfect Dark title, as a lot of fans probably didn't, but boom, here it is, and it looks sick. Kind of a mixture of Mirror's Edge with the parkour, but also a really fleshed out, what appears to be open world with a ton of gadgets, so kind of a cyberpunk / Watch Dogs thing, unlocking doors with a little gadget hacker tool, a couple of stealth segments, and of course the gunplay, which Perfect Dark is known for, looked pretty damn crisp and smooth as well. Also the HUD, very reminiscent of the classic, but kind of a modern version. And for nostalgia points, if they were to bring back the classic main menu music, this banger. That'd be really cool. It was a first look gameplay trailer. We have no more information on that. State of Decay 3. I wish to God this is a gameplay trailer because I'm super pumped for this game. The original two were awesome when it comes to co-op. Zombie slaying gameplay, which was super creative because you could make all kinds of weapons on the fly. The third entry is an ambitious open world taking place several years into the apocalypse with more zombies to kill, more people to protect as you're part of a community of survivalist homesteaders, and some of those OG staples that we really like the taste of are coming back, such as the brutal combat I spoke of earlier, being able to play in a group with co-op, permadeath features, and very creative ways to kill zombies, such as opening a car door while speeding down the road. Excited for this one. Wish there was a little hint of gameplay trailer at the end. It's hard for me to get super juiced about an Assassin's Creed game. They come out religiously annually, just like Call of Duty, for better or worse, generally worse, but some of my best times gaming in the past have been from Assassin's Creed games, for example, the original Ezio trilogy and Black Flag, of course. But for the first time, Assassin's Creed is going samurai, so they've got some big armor to fill here because, you know, we've got Ghost of Tsushima, which is fucking insanely good. But this is coming November 15th for the Xbox Series. Doesn't say shit about PC, but it should be assumed that it's going to launch on PC as well. And you're going to explore 16th century Japan as Neo, an adept shinobi for the province of Ika, and Yasuki, a powerful samurai. It was a gameplay trailer. I will say the blood looks super freaking fake and cartoony, kind of like the PlayStation 3 era. Just right here in this little still shot where I paused. Get back to your kill animation, if you will. Proceed with the execution. All the blood looks silly in this game. What the fuck? It's like they have a mod installed, but the textures for it have been corrupted or something. I hate to be the guy to scream from the back of the bleachers, BioShock clone, because, you know, a lot of people call Atomic Heart a BioShock clone, but I don't really think it's worthy of even calling itself such a thing. But this seems like some other shit, though. So we really don't get much from that gameplay trailer at all, but it is coming to Game Pass day 1 in 2025. And this is from Rebellion Studio, who you probably know from Sniper Elite and the Zombie Army franchises. It's important to note Adam's Fall is inspired by a real-world nuclear disaster that occurred in northern England in 1957. The game follows a fictional storyline where you find yourself in a quarantine zone 5 years after that event. It is a single-player, ooh, it's a dirty word in 2025 when this game launches, watch out, survival action game. And as far as the lore and world, it blends a post-world Britain and Cold War paranoia, folk horror, and elements of classic British sci-fi to create immersive and thrilling gameplay experience. I'll be the judge of that when she launches. Expedition 33. At first I was, you know, thinking nonchalantly this is nothing that I'd ever want to play until the combat sequence began. It looked like turn-based, but fast-paced turn-based combat, very similar to what we see with the modern Final Fantasy games, where you can go into a strategic turn-based sequence or you can just hack and slash as well. The worlds here look fantastic. A little bit of timing sequences there. Yeah, it looks like a JRPG, like a Final Fantasy style game. I would play this. I would, and I shall. Popping crits. Couple of hit markers there. Dual lightsabers. Now it's looking like Elden Ring now. Big boss health bar there. Parries and dodges. Yes, that is how I feel some days as well. Now, if you want to see how to neuter a badass game, just take a raw killing machine and turn it into a little weasel, a weasel beak. I'm going to play a little snippet from the original Dragon Age trailer, the OG game, and then a little bit of the modern version or iteration of what Dragon Age has become.
Darkness, and the Maker shall guide their hand.
We're going into the Fade, aren't we?
And digging up a lot of buried secrets.
What about Darkspawn?
Yeah. Someone who will stand between us and a pack of demons.
Hardware be damned, this is hardcore here, pushing a bunch of these fuckboys off the cliff. This is the kind of vibe you're getting from the game. To this airbrush gentleman over here, all I'm gonna say is I'm glad I wasn't a fan of the original Dragon Age, not because it wasn't good, but just because I never really played it at the time or got into it, because I'd be a little bit upset as to where the franchise has gone. Holy bajoli. We got ourselves a Souls-like. It's labeled as a Souls-like, so we're gonna see about the gameplay. That looks pretty sick so far. Yep, very Souls-like-ish. Parries, a lot of timing. Took your kneecap, you didn't need it. Looks like you have a little blunderbuss or musket. Oh, okay. Not the kind of movement mechanics that we're used to in a typical Souls-like. Much more open, fast pace with the maneuvers that you can pop off, parkour. I will say it does look a little bit cartoony. Definitely not going for the graphic realism, something like Elden Ring. And with the music, it seems kind of whimsical and cartoony and Disney-ish. It's coming to Game Pass. I'll be giving it a play. On July 18th, you can suck on my Flintlock, The Siege of Dawn. In case we lived in a world where 5v5 arena hero shooters weren't aplenty, in fact, we didn't have a surplus of them, oversaturated, there's another one, but this one actually does look pretty sick. Very similar to Overwatch meets this game that I can't think of right now. But the graphics also look a little bit cel-shaded like Borderlands, so that was cool with the environment change there. Foliage popped up out of nowhere. Big head mode. So this is actually looking like Borderlands, but a 5v5 arena shooter. I'm not a big fan of the Life is Strange games. I've diddled with the first and second one in a very short capacity. Double Exposure is coming October 29th. And if you pre-order the Ultimate Edition, you're going to be able to play the first 2 chapters a little bit early, October 15th. Mecha Break is a multiplayer mech-based shooter, so think of it like Gundam Wing or Zoids, which we don't really have very many games like that anymore other than Armored Core, which came out recently and I think does its job well, fits that role quite nicely. But now we're going to have another option as this features customizable mechs, as well as pilots, a wide array of weapon types, 3 distinct game modes, 6v6 battlefield, 3v3 arena, or a huge 60-player PvP VE mode. I feel like that mode is going to get a lot of replay there, that sort of BR-like huge PvP VE mode. And looking at the gameplay, it looks super fast-paced, super fun, and very excited for this. The beta is coming August of 24 to Xbox Series X. It's a closed beta. Sign up for it. A remake of the 2004 classic Metal Gear Solid Snake Eater creates a deeply immersive world now using Unreal Engine 5 to give us those enhanced modern visuals and sound that we're used to, but luckily keeping the legacy controls and voice line of the original intact. A new nicety, a third-person camera has been added, and control layouts offering players intuitive introduction of the Metal Gear Solid saga as they step into the boots of Snake in some high-stakes espionage action. I think this is great. This will bring new players to the Metal Gear Solid franchise as it is coming to Game Pass, and the controls were not bad in the original, so the fact that they're untouched shouldn't really throw a monkey wrench in anybody's cogs. Really excited for this title as a longtime Metal Gear Solid fan. The gameplay and visual style of Mixtape Nothing But the Hits actually looked really fun. Not really a game that I thought I'd be into, but all the 80s music pumping in the background was pretty rad. You might want to check out Mixtape. One of the games I'm most excited for is Stalker Heart of Chernobyl, because I think the Stalker games have always really nailed this atmospheric presence when it comes to post-apocalyptic wasteland, very similar to Metro Exodus, although that is typically tighter quarters inside of subway tunnels and whatnot. Yes, I know it does have some open sections as well, but the scope and scale seems a lot bigger. Gunplay looks pretty crisp there. Graphics look fucking amazing. Kind of a weird ragdoll effect there. He went down kind of sloppy. This looks pretty rad though, I'm not gonna lie. Is that a Val? Ooh, ugly. Little melee, hand-to-hand combat. You don't need to stab me with that. Let's flip that right around on you. Oh, objects appear closer than they appear, as so is your death. This looks fun, guys, gals. RPG, rocket-propelled glizzy. I know I'm not really providing much commentary right now, but the gameplay speaks for itself. This looks pretty cool. Natural disaster. I'm naturally going to move on to the next game. Super pumped for Stalker 2. We don't have a release time frame or date, but that is going to launch on Game Pass for Xbox Series and PC. Winter Burrow is a cozy survival experience inspired by a love of nature. This doesn't really speak to me, but it is kind of cute and adorable. Another Souls-like coming. This one is an action RPG launching day one on Xbox Series X and S. Really no information here, but the trailer looks super sick. This is Wuchang, Fallen Feathers. Diablo 4, which has been on a slippery slope of stinkage since its launch due to microtransactions, literally having to spend a small fortune and sell a kidney to level up your in-game character. But the next chapter is opening itself to you that is going to be Vessel of Hatred, as the game has been for a lot of its fans. That's coming October 8th. Keeping with the trend, it says pre-purchase now and unlock immediate in-game rewards. I'm sure that's not pay-to-play character buffing bullshit. ESO still getting support and love. Very happy, very upbeat, very Yeah, okay. That's Elder Scrolls for you now. Fallout 76, which I never thought I'd say this or announce it publicly, but I've actually been playing it quite a bit recently and enjoying it. It is completely different than how it was at launch. Starfield, Fallout 76, and Fallout 4 have been getting a ton of love, indubitably because of the success of the Fallout TV show. No matter what the reason, it's fantastic to see. And over the last year or so actually prior to the TV show's launch, 76 had been getting progressively better, but after the TV show's launch, I decided to dip my toes into that cesspool. I was actually pleasantly surprised to find a really good online service game. Not a good Fallout game per se, but a good online game if you're looking for like a Destiny 2 style experience to play with your friends. Yeah. Fucking there. And if you've been a fan of the game since launch, or somebody like myself that's starting to play it now, kind of jumped in when it started getting good, so kind of a half-ass fan of the game, I guess, you will enjoy Skyline Valley, which is the first expansion to the world map. So the southernmost part of the map, where it gets stinkier, basically, enemies get harder usually. You're going to cross the Savage Divide and travel into the southern reaches of the map. And it's a pretty big section of the map, a lot to explore, a lot of new quests, a lot of new content, including a big boss fight. Think of it like a mini raid almost. And this all became available June 12th. Sea of Thieves, which has a faithful following as well, because that's another game that really, like a butterfly coming out of its cocoon, it started a little bit fuzzy and smelly, but then it's a beautiful creature at the end. It really evolved into something enjoyable. I personally never jumped on the Sea of Thieves train, but a lot of people are chewing on that track and having a great time. And now you can become a villain. You can be dark, you can be evil with this all new world event that's going to pit pirates against Flameheart's mighty flagship in order to seize it, raining fire on their foes with a skeleton crew at their back, reaping the rewards of their dastardly deeds. I actually can't take claim for that writing or anything. I was just reading a sentence from this article from Xbox, but I read it pretty good though. This new encounter is part of Sea of Thieves Season 13. I exaggerated the pronunciation because this game has been getting a lot of support. This is going to arrive on July 25th as a free update for all players on Xbox, PC, and, wait for it, PS5 as well. Mingling lime green buddies with royal blue friends. There should be no segregation. Starfield, another game that is kind of crazy for me to say out loud, admit to the public, to the internet. I'm playing and actually enjoying a little bit right now. Not enjoying all of it. Do I enjoy multiple cutscenes to get to my fast travel location? No. Do I enjoy not being able to see my inventory and then the container or body that I'm looting having to tab over? No. There's a lot of things I don't like, but I just made a video recently which I strongly advise you check out, especially if you're a console player, as the game has gotten so much better than at launch. Kind of a cyberpunk story, but not quite to that extent with the 2.0 update. Regardless, Shattered Space got a trailer, and this is the first DLC or major expansion which has been teased for a while. Story-wise, this follows the followers of the Great Serpent, but this expansion is going to include a new story, which is good because a lot of people don't really like the vanilla experience. And through this expansion, you're going to be exploring the House of Varun in Shattered Space, which is going to be a separate section of the map. Shattered Space is going to launch later this year. Keep your eyeballs peeled. And I'm curious to see if this is going to be the update with the Shattered Space that introduces that land buggy, that vehicle that Bethesda not really teased. They actually came straight up out and showed us a demo. Hey, this is the land vehicle that we're working on for Starfield. I wonder if that's going to drop with Shattered Space, because that will make traversing these barren planets a lot more better than just trying to boost pack in zero grav, which gets so fucking tedious and boring. Blizzard Entertainment is socking you in the jaw with the 10th World of Warcraft expansion and the opening chapter of the most ambitious story arc in the game's nearly 2-decade history. The War Within is set to launch on August 26th. This upcoming expansion is actually the first of 3 in the World Soul saga, and it's going to draw your bitch ass deep into the mythology of World of Warcraft, weaving narrative threads from the past 2 decades together in a way that will captivate players both new and old. For a limited time, Blizzard is sweetening the deal, offering the Welcome to Azeroth bundle, which includes everything a player needs to begin their adventure. What the hell is that, Kevin? It's the current expansion, Dragonflight, a level 60 character boost, and 60 days of game time for $25. In addition to the software, there was some new hardware announced. Starting this holiday, the 1TB Series S in Robot White, an all-digital Series X, what the fuck, and a 2TB Series X Special Edition in Galaxy Black, which actually looks pretty cool. Not nearly as cool as the Halo limited edition Series X in my opinion, but the Galaxy does look pretty cool. So out of all three of these announced here, cool color is nice, all digital Series X, get out of my face, but the 1 terabyte Series S, that's huge because the storage has always been the Achilles heel. Well, there's a couple of limitations with that console. Storage has always been a big one, as you have 364 gigs of usable storage, which is like 3 modern games. But as you can see, or maybe just hear if you set your phone down and treat me like a radio star or something, but or if you saw the trailers too, there's some crazy shit coming out of the Xbox camp, and it is truly beautiful to see so much heat, so much flavor, so many games that I'm going to be able to play on my Game Pass subscription in the near future. Drop in the comment section below what excited you from the showcase. It was a big event. There were a lot of titles announced. There was even some hardware at the end, 3 new console versions. But drop in the comment section below what really excited you from this event, and I will see you Stallions and Stallionettes tomorrow. Peace. If you enjoyed the video, liking it helps it to get seen by more gamers, so this information will reach and assist them as well. Much like the back of the TV, I've got plugs for all of my socials down there in the description below. And your wallet will greatly thank you if you check the description, because there are exclusive discounts on a ton of products, including controllers, KontrolFreeks, keyboards, mouse pads, clothes, and energy drinks. And keep in mind that you, the viewer, keep this channel running. The more Stallions and Stallionettes trotting around the stable, the better, so mollywop that subscribe button like it owes you money, and we'll have the same amount of fun tomorrow.